Hi, everyone. This is Dawn Richard, also known as The Awakening with Dawn, and this is the Wake Up to Real Love podcast, where we share stories of struggles and triumphs in love, sex, and relationships, along with expert advice to create more conscious connections. I am super excited today and honored to have my guest, Robin Ducharme. She is a professional matchmaker and love coach and the founder and head honcho of Real Love Ready. She is a vision wrangler and head cheerleader. I love that you say that about yourself. Head cheerleader for the Real Love Ready team. And this is a team because it's a worldwide mission. She's driven by her passion for all things love, and she has an entrepreneurial spirit, and she's on a mission to help others get more intentional about designing the relationship they want. She curates meaningful shared experiences that bring our community together to laugh, learn, and celebrate evolution in our individual lives and partnerships. And her personal motto, which of course I resonate with, is love changes everything. Welcome, Robin. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Okay, we're going to dive into so much depth, but I want to start off because I was on your webpage and I saw that your couple is Allie and Noah from The Notebook. And when I saw that movie, I bawled my eyes out, of course.
I did too.
I want to know why them?
That movie really touched me. And the first time I saw the movie, it's funny, I can't remember who I went to the theater with, but I left, like you said, and I was absolutely, there are very few movies that I can watch that actually, I'm sobbing. I was absolutely doing that at the end, especially because their love had started out just, it was so much fire and passion and intensity. And they fought for that love. In the end, they ended up together. Mm-hmm. And the story evolved to where they were this older couple. And he was taking care of her in her, whether she had dementia or Alzheimer's. Right. And the family didn't recognize her anymore. But he was by her side and reminding her of their enduring love. Mm-hmm. And all through story. And I am like a sucker for good story. Right. And their love story was just something that brought her back as well. Every time, he would play the piano for her and she would come back and remember their life. Mm-hmm. So, it showed so many things. It showed, it showed the intensity of how much you can love somebody and stand by their side. There was so much joy. And in the end, it was like love prevailed, right? Yeah. They died together. Yeah. So there was actually it wasn't a fairy tale because it just showed a lot of the struggles. Imagine being with a partner that's going through that, right? I mean, it happens in real life. I have a family member that is going through. My aunt and uncle have been married for their lifetime. And she's going through, she's now at the beginning stages of Alzheimer's. And, they have such a beautiful love story, but this is going to be a challenge for them. Yeah. So so you can relate on many different levels. So I just,
Well, and I think that's the thing, that the fireworks and the stuff that they show at the beginning, this is the fairy tale, right? That people think, oh, this is all love is. Just the spark and the passion and the electricity and the chemistry. But then as your love evolves, it matures and it grows. So it's not just this chemical, superficial thing. It becomes a daily choice.
That's for sure.
Of how you're showing up and choosing love.
Yeah. Partnership is... our relationships are challenging. And I think that is, there's so much beauty in our relationships, but there is so much challenge in our relationships. Mm-hmm. And that's true for what we have with our children, with our family, with our friends, our colleagues, and of course our partners. Yeah. And so why are we not talking more about that? Yeah. Right? And actually asking for help in that and getting the support we need to have healthy partnerships.
Well, that was my whole intention of this podcast, is to normalize people's struggles. Like,
Yeah.
we deal with so many
Yes.
different issues, and people have, I feel like, in the past probably 50 years, our humanity has become more aware and being more open and honest about talking about depression, anxiety, addiction, abuse, infidelity. I mean, all of these things have been coming more to the forefront. And I really feel like the intimate issues around relationships are sort of the last frontier of, hey, let's get real about this stuff.
Yeah,
There's no shame in your struggle.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you learn from your parents about what love is and what a relationship is?
The example that I grew up with my parents' relationship was one full of struggle
Mm,
and conflict,
mm-hmm,
fighting, very loud yelling,
mm-hmm,
and um, I don't remember my parents getting along for stretches of time.
wow.
And I think if I was to think back, like maybe that's not entirely true, because um, there was definitely many nights when my dad would come home. We had family dinners like most nights a week, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Like, we grew up in such a loving home. Like, that's the thing, is our parents, both my mom and dad, like, are beautiful people,
Uh-huh.
and they're just so loving towards people in their lives, and giving, and fun, and generous, and kind, and all these things that they taught us to be,
Uh-huh.
my brothers and I. But as a couple, there was just a lot of strife. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that, my mom did her best to help my dad with his business, and my dad was a great provider and all these things. But at the end of the day, they separated numerous times. We moved out, like, my brothers and I would stay with my mom. My dad would move into some other place. And this happened repeatedly while we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it was like they were making attempts to make it work,
Uh-huh.
like, it was so much instability.
Mm-hmm. And so,
So, I think what I learned was that your and so when I was married, and when I was going through my separation
mm-hmm.
with my former husband,
Uh-huh.
I was just so it was like I had already experienced what it felt like to have divorced parents
Uh-huh.
and separated parents. But the one thing that I understood, or what I wanted to create with our separation, was just maintain that foundation. And that foundation is absolutely that my kids are loved, they're safe, they're taken care of. There's no doubt that that's ever going to change.
Uh-huh.
They're going to live in two separate homes. But it was very important to me that David and I maintain that strong foundation of our connection,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to keep our kids' stability on a level ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not possible for a lot of couples, but that was absolutely our priority when we went through our separation and our divorce. And we've maintained that.
How did you come to the decision to get separated? Because I think this is a struggle for a lot of people, myself included. I mean, 27 years it took me to make that decision, because I kept struggling with the question, throughout our conflict, knowing that this was not a healthy relationship, but still saying, but I still value the family, and and we are loving individually, but for some reason as a couple, we couldn't resolve whatever was going, that strife and struggle, like you said about your parents. So how did you come to that decision with your former husband?
It was, um, I think back on, like, it wasn't just like um, years and years
Mm-hmm.
of me knowing that something was missing. It wasn't like that
Mm-hmm.
with us, with me. And I think if other people around us were to look back and be like, a lot of people were shocked that I was that I had made this decision for us, because we had a happy marriage. We had a loving partnership, happy family. And we had gone through, I had gone through, but of course us as a family had gone through tragedy in, the 4 years before we divorced or separated.
With your dad and your twin?
Yeah, my twin brother passed away suddenly. And then 2 years later, my dad passed away suddenly. Like within, you find out like they're gone, right? And so
I cannot imagine how much grief and shock and
yes, and it doesn't, and that's not a short-lived thing, right? Like I remember being in a fog for a year, at least a year after my twin passed away. It was like half of me left my body. That's the only way I can say it. Because my spirit was half in me, but half with Reese.
Yeah.
And it was like I was floating around my life, in a real sense. It was like half of me wasn't there.
Yeah.
Until I finally, it's like I had to get half, it's like my twin had gone. And so I had to somehow recover that other half that wanted to be with him and was with him, and then ground myself back into my life, right? So that affected my marriage. Of course it did.
Of course.
And then I felt stable on ground again. And then my dad, the same thing happened with him. So it was like, oh, here I go again. It was kind of a weird thing because it was like autopilot. Oh, here I go again. It was just like, oh no, because your life, I was so close to both of them. And it's like, your life is, when death happens, there's all the psychology around this too, right? Couples that lose a child.
Yeah.
Like so many of them end, and it ends with divorce. And I could see why, because you're so stricken with all those stages of grief, and what goes along with that is losing yourself in the process and having to recover yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not a doctor in any form or fashion in any of that, but that's how I experienced it.
Because you have to learn to redefine yourself and your life without their physical presence in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And going through such deep losses recalibrates like your belief systems. Mm-hmm. There's so much that goes along with it. I stopped believing in certain things and had new belief systems. Like
what?
Well, and for instance, around my life, these things is like, wake up, be in the present moment. Like, life's short. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? Right?
Yeah.
If Reese can die at 35 and we're twins, and it's very likely I could die tomorrow. And, my dad was 67 and he just, his life was over within a matter of minutes. So it's like, this can happen to you. What are you going to,
Yeah.
And so what I did was I actually started re-examining my life. And it was one day I did wake up and I actually, like, literally in my heart, it was like, your marriage is over. It wasn't. And I thought, I didn't hear it correctly. That can't be what I'm hearing. It can't be what I'm feeling, because that's not
doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in your head.
Of course not. I married this person. I love him so very deeply. That has never gone away. Like, I love him so much. And so I was like, well, what do I do now? Like, when you hear that and when you feel that, you don't want to face it.
No. Where did
you think? I think I'm going crazy. And so I was able to talk to people in my life who I was very close to, who I could actually say, like, I think this is wrong, right? This is not right. How am I even thinking these thoughts? Because I thought, like, those are poisonous thoughts. Like,
So then you start judging yourself and questioning yourself, but you feel something inside of you.
Oh, that's so strong, and it's not going away. Like, I couldn't even will it away. Like, I was talking to psychologists by myself, going like, I'm having these really dark thoughts about my marriage. Like, how can this be happening? Because you can't imagine I couldn't imagine not being married to him. But why was I having these thoughts? I was like, maybe because of my brother, because of my dad, like, right?
Yeah.
But then the more time that went on, I started to actually look at my life from, which I do on a regular basis. Instead of being lost in the fear, which we can all do on a like minute by minute, moment by moment basis.
Yeah.
I often will just I've taught myself to get out of that and look at my life from a higher perspective.
Yeah.
And I started looking at my marriage from this higher place and examining my life from an observer rather than I
Being
was
in it.
observing. Yes. So I was being the observer of my experience.
So
How else can I put it?
no, that's that's perfect. So
Yeah.
how did you, from that observer perspective, what
I started
what did you
seeing,
see? What did you see?
I started seeing that I was no longer aligned in so many ways that I thought I was
Uh-huh.
with my partner.
Mm,
We, our belief systems were very different.
mm-hmm.
Our parenting was like, you know,
Night and day.
very, oh yeah. And my voice, I'd lost so much of my voice.
Mm,
And it makes sense, like with the reality of what we had gone through in 4 years, because I was, managing a lot in my family and the dynamics with the losses that we had had.
uh-huh.
And not just family, but our family's huge on both sides of my
Yeah.
mom and my dad's side. And so that's a lot of people to help. And I'm a very strong person, and especially in tragedy, what I've realized that about myself is like I can carry a lot, and I can, I was caretaking a lot.
Uh-huh.
And even though my husband was doing a lot with our kids, they were taken care of. So I can be supporting the other people around us that are going through this grief as well. And how
Uh-huh.
can I help you? And what are we doing with this? And so what I realized in that is that within our dynamic between the four of us, my kids and my husband and I had lost a lot of my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, how do and I just thought, I'm not going to be able to recover this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be happy with the way things are going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything shifted.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew in my heart, it was like, as much as this is going to hurt my family in the short term, in the long term, this is going to be the biggest blessing. And it is it is now that way. I feel that this is, I mean, that takes time to see and
Yeah.
experience.
Well,
But
and to get past the fear of this doesn't make sense. This, I don't understand. I have no idea where this is leading, but I feel compelled or propelled or
yeah,
guided. Something somewhere is giving me this huge message
yeah.
that I don't understand, and that makes me scared and sad and,
Oh,
experiencing all of
everything.
the multitude.
I knew that, and this is something that I think a lot of people who are separating from their partners, and we say the word breaking up our families, which
Uh-huh.
that has to shift as well, because
Mm-hmm.
my family is still together.
Mm-hmm.
We are living in two separate homes, but the love has never ended. Our family has never broken up. Like
Yeah.
we'll always be a family.
Yeah.
Like David, my ex-husband, is still part of my family.
Yeah.
Right? Forever. Until like we share children. Like
Yeah.
and we share 15 years together. So
Yeah.
but that is what I wanted to say is that there is the weight that is involved with, and the responsibility that I hold with making that decision, and how many hearts I broke doing that. I really did. I hurt a lot of people,
And
right? I let a lot of people down.
do you recognize how much courage that took?
Well, I'm able to see that. I am able to see that it took a lot of courage for me to do that. But on the flip side, um, I have been a people pleaser in my life. I want people to love me
Mm-hmm.
and like me. And it was like, this is going to change a lot of people's minds and hearts about me. And I had to live with that too. Right?
But that's the challenge, I think, in any kind of relationship, that,
Yeah.
we want to take care of other people and love people and nurture people and help them feel good. But at the same time, what we want and need is as valuable as what they want and need.
That's
And
right.
so how do you swallow your voice, swallow your truth, and appease everybody else, but really sacrificing your own sense of
That's
joy
right.
and meaning and purpose?
Something that you asked me before about what my, like how I grew up and what I was taught about love. Something, when it was my dad who finally made the decision, I cannot be married anymore. And
Uh-huh.
he would repeatedly tell my brothers and I and my mom, like, I love you, but we just can't be married anymore. Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
it. It's
Mm-hmm.
been too much. And
Mm-hmm.
I will always, you just say to us over and over again, I will always love your mother. Always. I will always take care of her, but I need to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
as much as, as kids, you're just like, well, we just want you to be together. Like,
Right.
no, like he was just so set in, like, the love never ends, kids. And don't worry, I'm always going to love her and take care of her. And he loved my mom's family till the day he died, and was just so caring and generous with them, even after they divorced. And it's like, that's showing us what true love really is.
Yeah.
And also he honored himself in that he just couldn't do that anymore. He couldn't
Yeah.
be in a marriage that he was unhappy in.
Yeah.
And it's like, so he was a wayshower for all of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of my big reasons for choosing to get divorced. Is I said to my kids and my ex, I want all of us to live in peace. You
Yes.
know, there there's too much negative energy, and the struggle and the strife and the stress, it like is weighing all of us down, and it's not good for any of us.
Yeah.
So I want everyone to experience peace. And it's funny because I was just talking to my 18-year-old about it the other day, and he said, Mom, it was so hard at first because I couldn't understand. I mean, even though I couldn't stand your relationship because you fought all the time, I just thought that that's what normal couples do. And so I was worried, like, what's going to happen with us? And he said, but now I realize that no matter what happens, it's all going to work itself out, because now
Yeah.
everyone is so much more at peace, and there's no arguing and fighting and tension and stress. And I mean, there's stress in other areas, but as far as like everybody can just breathe,
Yes.
breathe.
Well, that is, I think, possibly how it was very challenging for our family and
Mm-hmm.
friends, because we didn't have that. We had peace in our house. We
Mm-hmm.
had, it was, a very, not even, that's not the word amicable. It was just like, we really got along, and
Uh-huh.
we had a very happy home. It was that I something in me just knew that I couldn't stay. And
Yeah.
the way I see it as well, now that I'm out of it, right? Hindsight's 2020.
Right.
I can look at it with a different lens. It's like, I want to continue growing and expanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I was feeling like I couldn't grow anymore.
You were
In that in
constricted.
that space.
Yeah.
In that space. And that's okay. It's like, I need a different vessel, or a different, like, it's like my roots need to spread further.
Uh-huh.
And just because I've chosen to end this path of marriage with somebody, it doesn't mean that, like, the love has to stop. It's never going to stop. It's
Mm-hmm.
just changed form.
Right. Well, I
And so
think,
it's not necessarily, we don't need to look at this in such a, with, I don't want to look at ending my marriage with such a critical eye, or what
right,
went wrong, because nothing went wrong.
right.
It was like, I think, all divine. It was all meant to be as it is now.
Yeah.
I'm on a different path, and so is he. We still have shared, people
Uh-huh.
that we're taking care of and loving and experiencing life with. But our paths walking together, like as husband and wife, it's just in a different form.
Uh-huh. Well, you wrote something, I can't remember if it was on your website or where, but it says, you said, with your first husband, I see a mirror that someone else held up to reflect back to me where I could grow.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, that is what a relationship is all about.
Mm-hmm. The growing doesn't stop. And to
No.
say that, you know, I'm looking like now with my new partner, it's such a different, better relationship. It's not like that. You know, it's like we have definitely a different relationship than I had with my first husband.
Uh-huh.
Um, he's a very different person than my first husband, so a very different dynamic, but I'm still forced on a regular basis, and so is he, like he's the mirror pointing it back at me like, oh, that's a trigger, oh gotta look at that now, oh darn it. Oh, there's a
You're like, no,
challenge.
that's about you. No, crap, it's about me.
It sure is. So the growing doesn't stop, the challenge doesn't stop. This is like, relationships are not a fairy tale, and it's not
And
all
they're
peace
not,
and strength.
yeah, they're not static.
No, of course not. They're dynamic. And I think about that way with my children. I mean, I do everything in my power to be the very best person I can be for them, and be a great example, and be a great mother and communicator and all of these things, right? And I mess up on a regular basis,
Yeah.
and we're people just like,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So sometimes there's challenge and fighting and like conversations and hard conversations, but we still have a lot of fun, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing. Like, in our humanity, we do mess up. We have our moments. And, this was the other thing that I wanted to teach my kids. Like, you have to be accountable to the people that you love. So when you mess up in your humanity, when you do hurtful things or say hurtful things, you're in a system, right? And so what you do affects the system. And so if the system is like a well-oiled machine, and things are just flowing along with ease and grace, that's great. But then when the machine sort of stops or gets stuck, it's like, what do you need to do to bring back that sense of ease, and to bring back that sense of connection, and that feeling of, no matter what happens, I have your back,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. I think that it's pretty great because my kids are able to say to me just as much as I am to them, right? Of course, when they're stepping out of line, we're going to have a conversation about it and say like let's get back on track here, and
Yeah.
maybe this is a different way to look at this, and let's talk about it, right? When I mess up, of course, I'm going to say, I sit them down and be like, I'm very sorry, like that was not cool.
Yeah. Like, oh, I don't like myself right now.
No, and I'm going to do better next time. Like, thank you for showing me that that was just not. I was out of line, right?
That's not cool, Mom.
And actually, it's great because I've modeled that with them, and they could talk to me about hopefully anything. I know they feel that they can, and it's like, and they will say sorry when they've. So that's good, right?
Yeah.
Having that vulnerability, being able to have that courage as well.
Yeah.
To.
And so somebody that I talked to just said, a great way to say it is when somebody is doing something that, is offending you, to say, ouch, that hurts.
Oh, I like that.
And I was like, whoa, I wish I had known that when I was going through all my struggle and strife, because instead of like lashing back or whatever, just say, ow, that really hurts.
Yeah.
Because then there's no charge, right? And it's all like, this is how you're affecting me.
Yes. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So then, when somebody responds to you in that way, it's like, oh, turn that mirror right back around, right?
Yeah.
How do I need to show up differently?
Yeah.
So how do you and your new partner overcome these triggers?
We are just with every relationship in the process of learning how, because we've been together for a year and a half, and you're getting to know somebody. Somebody I was listening to Jason. No, it wasn't Jason Gaddis. I think it was Jason Gaddis. He said something around, you are still in the very beginning, you're with a stranger that you're getting to know, right?
Yeah.
We have this
I think your whole life, no matter how long you're with a stranger.
Yes, actually, Esther Perel says that too. She's like,
Yeah.
if you actually treat your spouse, your partner, like a stranger, like you're still needing to get to know them, not
Yeah.
pretending like
Yeah.
you know everything about them and finishing their sentences and doing everything else.
Right.
You'll be way ahead of the game.
Yep.
And I thought that is to keep the intimacy and the intrigue going is actually presenting it or looking at your relationship that way. And so I'm still learning how he communicates and how, like, if there is a difficulty in having these conversations, it's like maybe he'll pull back and I'm more like, let's talk about it, or vice versa. So we're still learning our dynamics, but I think overall we have such a focus on each other's happiness and contentment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay that, even if I need space from like a heated conversation for 5 minutes, I'll say to him, like, I'm going to have a shower and like, let's just everything on hold. And then he'll come back, within that time period, and then we can talk afterwards. So it's learning each other. Right. And I've said to him, because it is a lot going through bringing two families together, he's walking into, with me and not only my two kids, which is a big deal, but also, like I said, I've got a huge family dynamic. Like all my aunts and uncles, all my cousins, it's a lot for him to be coming into. And he's got a family, like his family as well, it's like you're joining these forces, right?
Right.
And so he's been talking to he's got a psychologist that he goes to. I've got mine. And I said, we will do couples counseling when, when the time comes. Like, and I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah.
Forever. Why not?
Why not? Because, I don't think it's something like,
it's more tools in your toolbox.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like when you only have one or two tools in your toolbox and you constantly are hitting a wall of like, this isn't working. It's like, okay, perhaps it's time to discover a new tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how do you, because I'm thinking about how when you were talking about your former husband that you said you lost your voice. So how in this relationship are you showing up, being able to express your truth and speak your voice in a way that you weren't maybe able to in your past?
There's been times when I've not wanted to say something, and because it's like I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable, I don't want to hurt him, I want to protect him. And so I've examined that in myself. And sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer, which is good. I will go talk to my counselor about that and say, this is what I'm going through right now. Like, is this something that I need to talk to him about, or is this something that I need to work out in myself? Because that's something that, because I've been on this path of self-evolution, growth, consciousness.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
Your whole life. Come on.
I would say like, yes, but 17 maybe was when I just really hit all right, I'm on this, right? Never stop.
When your awareness of it. Yeah.
And with that, I think there's a lot of self-analysis.
Yeah.
And getting kind of in my mind, that's how I kind of operate sometimes. Am I overthinking this? Am I being overcritical? Or so that's what I'll get in this kind of cycle. And then once I communicate that to my partner, like, this is where I've been at for the past 3 days. He's like, well, why didn't you talk to me about this sooner? Like, you've been maybe thinking this.
Over analyzing it. Yeah.
Yes. And we could have kind of sorted this out sooner. So that's where I'm at. It's been a great learning, and it's probably going to take me another lifetime to learn it. But like maybe speaking up sooner, right? Rather than withholding at all.
But
right?
That's the thing. I mean, even when you said, I'm holding it in because I want to protect him. Why does he need protecting?
Yeah, he doesn't.
Protecting from what? The truth? Your truth.
Yeah.
Protecting from your truth. I don't think that people need to be protected from your truth. I mean, that's why so many crazy things happen in families in order to protect people.
You're right.
I mean, I'll give you just a little example. Like my mother-in-law, when she was alive, she would be in the hospital. Well, they wouldn't tell us for like 2 weeks because they were protecting us. They didn't want us to worry or whatever. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, you are here in your system, you know, if it's in your partnership or your family of origin or whatever system you're in, it's like everyone has the right to be who they are and to speak their truth. And it shouldn't be, well, I don't want to say because I don't want to hurt your feelings. Well, of course we don't want to hurt your feelings. I love you and I care about you. That's not the point. The point is for me to say, this is my experience, and for your partner to say, okay, I'm going to be the observer and be the witness to your experience. And so instead of, you know, sort of blame, shame, criticism, guilt, judgment, and instead of this, or I'm going to fix it for you.
Yes.
It should be the observer, the higher perspective, that curiosity of, wonder what this is about for you.
Mm-hmm. I think that we, like as partners, I think we're just like so on that path of being better at that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just whatever we can do to support each other's growth and, right, just provide like that safe space to be who we are,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's really what it comes down to. It's like not squashing each other, or it's like if you've got a belief, okay, that's your belief. We don't have to agree on everything.
We don't have to agree, and because I don't agree doesn't mean that I lose respect for you or that I don't want to be connected to you. It's just like we're just different.
Yes, that's right.
So it's coming to this place of real. This is something that I talk about a lot. It's like all of these situations that are blocks to love, either within yourself or with somebody else. I believe that this is where we learn for ourselves how to have more compassion for ourselves and each other, more compassion, more understanding, more acceptance, more forgiveness, perhaps, and just letting people be who they are.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
I think this is our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That this is the real love that promotes growth, that honors who you are, honors who I am. When I'm showing up in my full truth, and you know, I have no intentions of hurting people, but some things like your decision to leave your husband, my decision to leave my husband, it is going to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's really honoring me.
Mm-hmm.
And I deserve to be honored from myself as much as you deserve to honor what's right for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do we navigate this in our partnerships, in our families?
It's something that I think we're not, like, Terry Cole talks about this, about how, and you asked me the question, how did I learn about relationships growing
Mm-hmm.
up?
Mm-hmm.
We're taught, many of us are taught, not the healthiest dynamics. And we're not taught the skills or given the tools to be in healthy relationships, healthy
Mm-hmm.
partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
The modeling was not great. some of us grew up with, parents that could show us, or caregivers that showed us like an amazing example,
I
right?
actually had parents who showed me an amazing example, but for
Yeah,
some reason, I was not able to replicate that with my ex-husband.
yeah, and I think I mean, there's no judgment around that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, in any case, here we are, adults navigating. We all, like most, like I think we're wired for partnership,
Yeah.
and those of us that do want it, that want to be in a loving relationship. And if you don't necessarily, I think we can all grow and be better partners, right? So, it doesn't stop when you meet somebody. First of all,
No.
it's like, the whole idea, but when you're single, and it's like when I find that person, it's going to be all rainbows and butterflies. Obviously,
Fairy
that's not
tales,
the case.
fairy tales, fairy
I mean, that's
tales.
not the case, right? The real work starts in partnership.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's why I'm just so grateful that I'm in this space where we are surrounded by so many people that can give us the tools and,
Mm-hmm.
and perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
to do it in the best way, to be in
Mm-hmm.
partnership in the best way, how to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mark Groves, like I just love his perspectives, right? And he's so
Yeah.
cut and dry and just
Yeah.
like, damn.
He's no
So
bullshit for sure.
yeah, and the humor, right? The humor.
Yeah.
So just, if the more people that we can bring in that are like the gurus and the wisdom, wayshowers,
Yeah.
teachers, like
Teachers.
let's come together and show each other the way.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I
I,
and I love and I love too because Esther says, I don't have the answers. Maybe what I say today is not what I'll think tomorrow. And I
that's
think that
right.
that's true for all of us. So
Yes,
something that resonates with me, something that I believe in, and then tomorrow I go, huh, I'm questioning that, huh? I wonder what that's about. Maybe I'm thinking something else. And this
yes,
is, I mean, this is the beauty of this sort of, um, it's just an ongoing process.
yeah,
Your journey of your whole life, there's not like one particular destination except love, except love. Where can I express more love? Where can I feel more connection with the people around me? Where can I um, grow and evolve to become more loving and more expansive and more authentic and more of who I really am?
yeah.
So
Well, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say that really is the mission of Real Love Ready. And
Yeah.
before I launched the business, I had months and months of planning sessions around my dining room table, with a team of 4 women. And
Uh-huh.
between us, it was just drilling it down. Like, what is the essence of this business? Why do I want to create this company?
Uh-huh.
What is my mission, and what do we hope to accomplish? Like the bigger mission.
Right.
And it was like, it is this, like the bigger mission is that love changes everything,
Yeah.
right? And how do we do it in this? And then if it's here, it's like, okay, it's like our partnerships are an amazing, like, playground
Uh-huh.
vessel to create more love,
Uh-huh.
right? And if we are happy and nurtured and thriving in our partnerships, we can feel supported.
Uh-huh.
I think about a tree, right? And a tree has these roots that go deep, deep, deep down in the foundation.
Yep.
And the stronger our foundation is, and I think of our partnerships can be that for us,
Uh-huh.
the stronger we can be to just branch out.
Exactly.
And it's like, you've
Exactly.
got this, talk about a cheerleader. If you have a partner that is your greatest cheerleader in life,
Uh-huh.
then you really can step into what you are supposed to be, what you're meant to be, what you came here to be.
You
You know,
can branch out as much
yes,
as you need to branch out as opposed
thrive
to
and
being
grow
being
and heal.
withered. Yeah, being withered and suppressed or whatever so that you can't grow. And I
And that
love
really, yeah,
I love how you said it's a playground because then
yeah,
that makes it like even though it's even though it's work, building the sandcastle in the playground or whatever, it's fun. It's really about an
Yeah.
exploration into who am I and who do I want to become and who are you and who do you want to become, and how can we play together and help support each other into, branching out and becoming the mighty oak tree that we were all destined to be from our little acorns.
Yeah.
So how did you, I love this summit. Please talk about it, because you have some heavy hitters that are coming to this. This is the very first one, right?
Yes, it is. It's our inaugural summit.
This is
Inaugural.
inaugural.
It's a tongue twister.
How did you get these heavy hitters? This is like incredible.
Well, I wanted Real Love Ready Summit, our first one, to start off with a bang.
Yeah.
And so I had already, I've known Danielle for quite a few years, and I saw her live. I think the first time I saw her live was 2000, maybe 2012, in Victoria, and I was just blown away by her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And so I've always, I've been following Danielle ever since. I saw Terry Cole live in Alberta last year, and I thought, I'd never heard of her before. Where you end up in this right place at the right time, and you're just exposed to, like,
exactly.
I was just like, ah,
yeah,
Terry!
yeah.
She's so funny and wise and just so witty. And one of my really good friends, one of my best friends, she sent me a YouTube video when I was going through my separation with Esther Perel. And I had never heard of her either.
I never heard of her either until May.
I turned up the volume, and I just was like sitting there going, what in the heck? Like, everything she was saying just resonated so true with me.
I binge watched her for the first month. It was just like video after video after video. And I was just like, this woman is speaking my language. Oh my gosh, finally somebody that's talking about all of these important issues. And why didn't I know about her when I was going through my separation? The same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also, when I was training to become a matchmaker, and this is, I guess, just talking about that evolution, was I did my research and found Rachel Greenwald. And I thought, if I'm going to become a matchmaker, I need to learn from the very best in the industry. And she is responsible for hundreds and hundreds of marriages.
Wow.
And she has coached, and she's written New York Times bestselling books, and she's coached thousands of women on online dating. And she can't take thousands of matchmaking clients, but she can coach, thousands. So her methods are just so tried and true. I mean, she is a Harvard graduate. She met her husband at Harvard.
Not smart at all.
No, but her story is fantastic because, this is while she was getting her postgraduate degree. She was like, I'm in my, I'm sorry about my dog barking. Okay. I think she was in her early 20s, and she had said to her family and friends, like, I'm ready for my partner. I want to meet my husband. And I'm going to come at this like I'm getting my degree in business, right?
Wow.
So she applied the strategies of her MBA to finding her husband. And she had all these questions. Oh, should I tell my dog to be quiet? Is it really annoying? I'm sorry. He'll stop. He thinks he's like the ruler of the universe in our little house. And he's like, barks at everybody that walks by going, you're in my street. You're on my street. And he's a cute little golden doodle that wouldn't hurt a soul. But anyway, he's not afraid to use his voice. So anyways, she created this strategy, and she had all these questions she wanted to ask. And she was like, I am going to ask everybody I know in my network. This is before the times of Facebook, really.
Oh,
And so she asked everybody that she was meeting, professors, she was in contact with Harvard. Who do you know that the kind of guys, and it was like the values are really important. And he needs to be kind. He needs to be she was all about what's on the inside, right? And he has to have strong connection to his family. Friends are important. I just, she can tell the story when, anyways. Within a matter of time, she really treated her dates as like, it was like interviewing,
Like
but of course, in a
research,
very,
research.
but in a matter of time, she met her husband. Like she was on a mission. And there's
Wow.
something about that as well, right?
Yeah.
Like when we put our focus on something we really want in our lives, it's amazing how the universe, you know, we are on the right,
Conspires.
conspires to bring that to fruition
Yeah.
and bring that person into focus. Or, you know, the mission we're on, like let's say our mission is like to create a company or a podcast like you're doing and bring more love into this world and relationship advice and tools. Like it does, the relationship, or sorry, the universe does conspire to help us.
Yeah.
And so it was just a matter of time before she met her husband, and so she wrote a book about it. So Rachel Greenwald is our matchmaker, dating coach extraordinaire, who's going to be like sharing her like experience and wisdom. And then Mark Groves. So the summit is a culmination of all these amazing people coming together, and all of us in community to learn from and grow and share. And I think there's just such a powerful dynamic when groups come together.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we're having to do this digitally, like virtually, which we have to continue to do.
Right.
But coming together in person, we're it's September 11th and 12th are the new dates.
Oh, I was
So,
just going to ask you.
and I'm
so you
announcing that
changed
right
it
now
from-
before
you
it's
just-
going live on the website. But yes, those are our new dates.
September 11th and 12th.
Yes.
Guess what? The 12th is my birthday. Happy birthday
my
to me.
Yay! Happy birthday. Okay,
That's
great.
going to be the best birthday present ever.
It really will be.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so the summit is the in-person experience. And I am working with, I'm having a call with High Tide at 1 o'clock. It's 11:11 right now. I just want to make a mention that that is like so amazing and powerful. But that's all part of creation, right? Looking at numbers and paying attention to, like, you know, we're on like little crumbs that we're given. As,
Right.
like,
The little guideposts. Yeah.
yes. And just building up this community of resources.
Yes.
So that, you know, you're not alone, and you don't know who this person is. Well, I'll make an introduction, and
Exactly.
I don't know who all these people are.
Exactly.
But, you know, a lot of people who have come into the Real Love Ready community are like, I don't know who Terry Cole is. Okay, well, great. Here she is. Here's an introduction. This is what she has to offer. Do you resonate with that? Yes, I learned something. Great. Right? Oh, well, I didn't know what Danielle Laporte was all about. Well, here she is. Here's her podcast. Take a listen. I mean, she's just full of gems, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just making those connections with people that can, like, we're all here to learn and love and grow with each other, right?
It's like we're all pebbles, and what pebble we put in the water, it's that ripple effect. Because I'm finding this too. I mean, you know, it's so bizarre because I started the podcast because a year ago I started a relationship coaching business because I used to be a therapist and in Texas, but my license expired. But I know that this is part of my work, right?
Yes.
And so I've been doing that. And in May, for some reason, something popped up on my feed that was Esther Perel. And Esther, binge watching, had been interviewed by a guy named Brian Rose from London Real. He has his own podcast. Oh, have you ever considered doing a podcast? And it was like that feeling was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. I don't know why. I don't know what's going to happen. But then joining Esther Perel's group and, you know, and then meeting you. I mean, this is how we were introduced through Esther Perel's Facebook discussion group. And it's like all of these things are just growing and expanding, and it's getting so exciting.
Yes, it is. It is. And I think that feeling, when you're just going back to what we were talking about with, you know, when just divorce and separation, and when you can be in so much pain and anguish. And I was, when I was going through, when I knew that I was ending my marriage, I was so filled with all of those feelings that are just so heavy and dark, and just the fear that can just envelop you.
Yeah.
But I was also in this, it was just this juxtaposition, but a marrying of like knowing that this was right. Knowing that, like, even though there was chaos in my mind, and it felt like I was in a tornado of like this is going to be very destructive.
Uh-huh.
I also, at the same time, had a sense of peace.
Peace.
Like,
Yes.
how is that even possible? But it is.
Yeah.
It's like you can have two things that are very like that are like seem very incongruent, but
Yes.
it's like they're together at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like you could feel completely like off balance, but also know that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Like because there's so much uncertainty, but you're like, so my point is around going back to what we just talked about, starting this company and doing everything that I'm doing back in the love business.
Uh-huh.
It is like I'm on the right path. I know I am, and I just keep getting reminders. Like our talk right now is definitely
Yeah.
like just you're on the right. Like, and just keep going one step at a time. And I think isn't that true with everything in our lives, right?
Yeah.
If you feel like you're on the right path, you know it. Then it's like even though you could be surrounded by chaos and also you're also filled with fear and uncertainty. Like look at the world we're in right now.
Yeah.
You will be given those breadcrumbs. You will be given those signs that keep going. Just keep the one step forward, right?
Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, I think that's what happens in relationships too, because, you talk about the dichotomy of this and this, like I'm really pissed off at you right now. And I love you so, so much.
Yes.
They're not mutually
Yeah,
exclusive, right?
they're
I am
not.
scared shitless and there's chaos and fear and angst but at the same time, I feel this sense of peace. Like, I don't know why. I don't know where it's leading me. I just know that it is true.
Yes.
And that I need to honor that because it's who I am. And it's something that's trying to be born out of me or created through me. Or, like I feel like we're all conduits anyways. And all of the, this is that higher perspective. We're all conduits. And how these inspirations and insights and things come through us, and when we don't honor them, it's like you're that tree that is like shrinking its branches, right? But when you honor it, it's like you feel that sense of peace and that sense of stability amidst the chaos.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you have to do that for yourself so that you can be an example for others.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
am
very sure.
I
Yeah.
am so glad you're doing this.
I am too, and I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. It's yeah.
I feel like all of these connections were already like preordained.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we're just really opening our eyes and going, oh, yeah, I recognize you.
Yeah.
This is how I feel about you. That's why I reached out to you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so honored. I really appreciate that. And I'm just so grateful for our connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So September 11th. So you want to tell people about how they can.
The easiest way to learn everything about the company and what we're doing with the Real Love Ready is to go to our website.
Uh-huh.
And it's realloveready.com.
Uh-huh.
We're on Instagram, Real Love Ready. Facebook, Real Love Ready.
Uh-huh.
And the tickets still show the old date.
Okay.
But because of what we're going through with COVID-19, we have switched and we're just in the process of doing all the updates, showing the new dates.
Uh-huh.
So what everybody may want to do is just press pause on, if you purchase a ticket now, it'll be valid for the new dates. But right now it's still showing the old dates. But we're getting on that this week.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, are you still having it, April?
Oh yes, no, we made an announcement. We posted on the website.
Oh, okay.
Saying that we are postponing. Nobody's traveling. I mean,
Yeah.
we are not allowed to. We're not allowed to travel, and I sure wouldn't want anybody to go anywhere. We are in self-isolation here in BC. I don't know about you, but it's we just need to contain all of this chaos before, right? So stay healthy and safe.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in the fall. I think September 11th and 12th is going to be like the divine time to hold it anyway.
It's going to be
Must be.
magic.
Yes, for your birthday, Dawn. Wonderful. Well, and I'm so glad I'll meet you there in person.
I'm so excited to meet you. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
No, well,
Uh, um, I was going to ask you, when you were a dating coach, what were the things that you like, some wisdom that you can give us about dating and about like what to look for?
what I
Like, what do you want to teach your daughters about dating?
what do I want to teach my daughters about dating? I think it all starts with looking at yourself and who you are and
Mm-hmm.
what you are bringing to the table in any
Mm-hmm.
relationship, who you are and what you want to give in a relationship, what you can give and how you want it to look like, how you want it to be, what you want to create. And when I was coaching, so often people would come to me and say, like, I really need help in my dating life. I'm meeting the wrong people. They're not in alignment with who I am. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no similarities between us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he or she doesn't look the right way or act the right way. They're not in the right profession, these sorts of things. Here's my list of what I want, right? And I understand that whole mentality of like, this is what I want to manifest. And this is like, you know, the red Beamer with like, you know,
Tall, dark, and handsome, lots of money.
this color of seats, and it's got this type of engine, and you're very specific, like you're choosing out of a catalog.
Yeah.
That's not the right approach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's more like, this is who I am. This is like what I can give and bring to a relationship, and who the type of person on the inside that I'd like to create something with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you can't focus on the outside package, because you cannot imagine what that person is going to look like or show up like in your wildest dreams. You can't.
Uh-huh.
Like, the universe has infinite possibilities of all of those things that's going to calibrate the right person for you, but it's like showing up in the right way. So I'm going to give you an example. Throw away your list of like, you know, 6 foot, you know, this kind of job, this income. That's just all.
Well, those are all superficial things, right? Those are all superficial.
Well, they are, but I think it's really focusing on how you want to feel in this relationship.
Yeah.
So making that part of your vision, your dream board, right?
Yeah.
And then you need to be super honest about who you are and know yourself and be upfront and honest about that from the get-go. So, you know, when I was writing, I was helping people with their online profiles. And it's like, you turn it into a story, right? And be unique, because you are unique. And I wrote my own online profile before I met my partner online.
Uh-huh.
And I was so upfront and honest. I said, like, I told this in my story. I'm a divorced woman with 2 beautiful children. If you are somebody that is, you know, wants to have children that of your own, that's just probably not going to happen, because I'm done.
Right. I'm done.
So like, don't, and I didn't say don't call me, like, but just like pretty much put it out there so that, you know, you're weeding out, right?
Yeah.
But people
exactly.
like, I'm not setting these wrong expectations.
Right.
Health and wellness is super important to me. Like, I exercise all the time and I'm outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd rather like hike up a mountain than go to yoga 5 days a week. Like, I'm pretty much setting the scene for the kind of person that I am in my personality. But it's really just how I want to feel. I want to feel like super amazingly attracted to somebody.
Uh-huh.
And I want him to feel physically, sexually attracted to me as well.
Uh-huh.
Hey, you could come in any package as long as I feel attracted to him.
Exactly.
Hey, right?
Exactly. Because sometimes you think you have an idea of something, and then something totally shocks you. You're like, whoa, I've never been attracted to that, but wow, I feel like lots going on there.
Like, talk about your type. What's your type? Like, give that up to the universe. Like, you don't need a type, because that's just putting everything into a box.
No,
And
I mean,
where are the boxes? There's no boxes.
No, I mean, I think that's where the feelings come in. It's like, I want somebody who's kind. I want somebody who's supportive. Or, okay, so say, you know, I want to feel supported. I want to feel understood. I want to feel seen. I want to feel connected. You know, I want to
Yes.
feel like somebody who's going to have my back no matter what. When I show up in my chaos, that they're going to be stable and sort of contain me or give me the space to, you know,
That's
display my
right.
chaos or whatever. It's like all of those things. And I've never, actually, Robin, I have never heard anyone say um, that you should consider what you have to offer a partner, because it's usually like, what do I want? What do I want? Not what do I want to give?
Yeah. What do I bring to the table?
Uh-huh.
Because something I did say in my profile and into the universe, not just on my profile.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My vision board was, I made a beautiful, like, paper vision board, and I put it in my phone, and then I did my online profile, and I was talking to people. So I was doing all the different things to bring this person in.
Uh-huh.
The other thing that was really important to me was I am, and I wrote this as well, like, I am such a positive, optimistic, the glass is overflowing person.
Rose-colored glasses. That's me.
Yes, but it's not half full, half empty. It is overflowing. The
Yeah.
world is abundant.
Yeah.
Life is abundant.
Yeah.
And
There's
whoever this
plenty
person
to
is,
go around.
yeah, whoever this person is, you are going to be walking into an abundant world, because
Uh-huh.
that is my life. I
Uh-huh.
have so many friends, so much family, so much love, so much
Uh-huh.
joy.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm going to share that with you, and you in return, you have to have a very positive attitude as well. If you're like that kind of like negative Nelly, or what's the word, pessimist,
Uh-huh.
you and I are not in alignment. So,
Uh-huh.
like, no, right? So
Yeah.
it's just like, kind of just be like, just pronouncing, declaring who you are,
Uh-huh.
and whoever that person is, those people are that come your way. That's the other things that I talked about that I was coaching, is like, we are declaring who you are in this profile, and in the matchmaking clients I'm meeting that introduce you to, I'm hoping that they are in alignment that really want to meet this person that you're declaring that you are.
Uh-huh.
And these encounters that you are experiencing when you meet this person new, they're divine. They're divine encounters. So whether this be a 5-minute, 10-minute coffee date, and you're like, no, that's a no-go.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know what? I'd like you to really focus on being present during this meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing, what can I bring to this
Mm-hmm.
experience?
Mm-hmm.
What can I learn from this person?
Yeah.
Be curious.
Yep.
Like you're going to walk away with something,
Yeah.
because that was a divine encounter.
Right.
And let's say you walk away with just a really, I don't know. Let's say there was definitely times when I would set up many, many hundreds of introductions, and sometimes it would go sideways. There was something negative about that experience.
Uh-huh.
Well, what did you learn about yourself? How did
Yeah.
you handle it? Did
Uh-huh.
you, did you bring grace to the situation? Were you able to use your voice and say, like, no, I'm not okay with what you just said.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yeah.
There's it's like a practicing, right? You're in school.
Yeah.
So for like getting ready for the next one, or so anyway, and staying open and staying still on course, because sometimes you
Uh-huh.
can get derailed and be like, I'm just not, I'm giving up hope. So that was the other way that I just was able to be cheerleading these people on and being like, just
Yeah.
don't give up.
Yeah.
So it was just quite an amazing experience being a coach and matchmaker. But I'm definitely still on that road. It's just now it's like bringing
It's in a
everybody in
different
to help.
way. Yeah. It's just a
Yes,
different way.
yes,
And every situation, every circumstance is an opportunity for learning and for growth.
yeah,
Yeah. So
that's for
this,
sure.
and with yourself first, because that's where
Yes,
it all starts. And that's why I think that this, your internal reflection, your ability to be the observer of yourself, and your own triggers, that you need to work through, areas and places in your life where you need to grow and where you need to give more love, maybe to yourself first, or to other people. It all starts with you.
Yeah.
Stop waiting for your partner to make you happy. Stop waiting for your partner to create some amazing life for you. It's like, you have all the power. The only person you can control or change is yourself.
That's right. Yeah. I think that pretty much sums it up.
It pretty much sums it up. I think, oh my gosh, like, I have such a great feeling about what you're doing. I think, it's
Thank
gonna
you. I do
it's
too. I
gonna
feel the same
be
way about you.
huge.
Yeah.
It's gonna be huge. And these are the ways that we, because of the work that we're doing on ourselves and that we continue to do, that we can show up in our full light and love, and not the rainbows and unicorns, but the reality of the compassion and the understanding and the acceptance and forgiveness, and just allowing our own humanity. It's like, this is how we ripple out to the rest of the world. So you're beautiful.
You're beautiful. Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah, you're really beautiful.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
that.
Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for how you're showing up in the world and what you're doing. I'm so excited for you.
Aw, thank you for having me. And I'm excited too. We'll continue to, we're going to continue staying connected and um, follow along in each other's journey and be part of each other's journey.
Yeah.
So, and I'll
Yeah.
see you in September.
Woohoo!
In Vancouver. Fantastic.
Okay, so remind everybody how they can find you.
realloveready.com. On
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, Real Love Ready.
Lots of
So,
great articles and insights and videos. And yeah, I mean, you're a catalyst. You're for sure a catalyst for love.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You are too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. So hold on just a second. I'm going to, I know that all of my listeners will love and appreciate this conversation, because there's so much wisdom and insight. And so please, for all of you, subscribe and share with your friends to the Wake Up to Real Love podcast. And if anyone would like support in overcoming heartbreak and betrayal, this is what I specialize in. And so you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Awakening with Dawn. And the, oh, I forgot. I need to ask you my last question is, how do you define real love?
I have this cross above my office door, and it says "Love Wide," and it's just such a beautiful, like, two words say everything, right? So it's like, when you could be the love within yourself, like, just be love, like being the most loving person you know. It's another saying that of mine that I just like. I love it because it's like, just be the most loving person you know. You're like, it's not necessarily looking for the love of your life. Like, be that love, and you will attract. Like, you will, like, you could beam that out to the world, and you will receive, tenfold back.
Yeah.
Right. It's like when we're generous. It's like, you're never going to be lacking. You're going to get 10 times back. You could give $100 tomorrow to some person on the street, and somehow, maybe a year later, you'll get a $300 check out of nowhere. Who knows where it came from? I don't know. But it's like, it just comes back to you, right? Love is the same way. It expands, it's exponential.
The more you give, the more you're open to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So love wide.
Love wide. I love that. Thank you. And so that goes with the last thing that I like to say in my podcast is, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. That's where it all starts. So love yourself wide, and you can love each other wide. So
yes.
Thank you so much, Robin, for being here with
me. Thank you.
Today. It was so fun. All right. Thanks, listeners. Every day, wake up to more real love. We'll see you next time. Take care.